Earth is for everyone. That's the message behind a benefit gig taking place at the Union Chapel in Islington this weekend. The concert will focus on the tale of Rumi, a celebrated Persian poet and philosopher, and aims to raise funds for a range of causes. Well, Iranian-born singer Shahryar is among those performing and joins me now, along with Maryam Moeini, who's organising it. Guys, thanks very much for being here. Now, Maryam, I'll come to you first of all. Really unique event. What made you decide to want to do this? What was the starting point?
Well, I love doing charity and I love being voice of the voiceless. I love children, I love animals. And honestly, when I moved to London, I was so isolated, and I was like, okay, because it was the first time that I left my family behind and I was living alone. But then this international society and the perfect life of so many people from so many different backgrounds living together in beautiful peace, it really affected me in a way that I decided after finishing my study, because I was a student for 5 years, I need to do something in this beautiful city, and that's what I came up with the idea of doing this charity event.
And how did you get on board, Shahryar?
Well, I think I've been on board for a while because I've been doing Rumi for many years. Rumi's been an idol for me, and I'm being blessed to be able to read it in its original language. And as you might know, he's the most well-read poet in America today. And he has influenced many Western writers, from Ralph Waldo to Shakespeare, to many, many, many great writers. And so his message is universal, and he's an international icon. And so I had done a lot of music in Persian in the past. But with Rumi in my hands, what we do, I went to his shrine several times. I actually performed near his shrine in a city called Konya in Turkey a few years ago. And the more I read and the more I composed, I realized that I actually have his life story in my hands from day one, before he was just a pious. He was pretty much illiterate when it came to literature until the day he died. And it's a magnificent story. So I'm like, well, we need to bring this on stage. And we need to bring it on stage in a very grand way, just like Rumi would have wanted. So we started composing, and so now we take this concert to many places. I just finished performing in Toronto. Prior to that, I was in Paris and then in the States, and we're going to many different cities after London with a big orchestra, 20-piece orchestra. And so if you don't know Rumi, you will be very nicely entertained and educated at the same time about his life and what happened to him, because his life is definitely a magnificent one. It's magical.
Because you focused on your previous albums on slightly more popular music.
True.
Since performing the Rumi songs that you've done, have you noticed the reaction is slightly different from the audiences?
Well, Rumi's poetry and message is very deep, and it's, you know, when it's deep, it's hard for most people to digest. But I think bringing the element of pop into this and delivering his message through pop melodically and as far as arrangement, and more youthful and more westernized. And that's the idea, immersion of Eastern philosophy with Western music. Our music is not Persian, really. I mean, it's world music when it comes to Rumi. So in the beginning, it's of course not easy, but my passion and my heart is in it so much. I don't know if you can tell how passionate I get talking about this. So it will resonate whether I want or not. And I'm very pleased that every city that I go to, I get so many different you know, people from all walks of life that are not Persians. And not that I don't like to have Persians there. Of course, I love for them to be there. But it really brings a joy to my heart to see that I can take this message and bring other nations. And that's the idea, building a bridge.
And Mary, you've chosen the Union Chapel, which has its own tie to charity. But tell me about the causes that you'll be supporting through this event.
Honestly, when I started to plan this, I was thinking more about protecting nature and animals. I'm an animal activist myself. But thinking more about it, I thought, okay, because of what's going on right now in the world, I thought, okay, why not make it more multi-causes rather than just focusing on one cause, because a lot of people, when they do charity, they think the charity that they're doing is the most important one, but honestly all charities are important, all of them matter. So I thought if we can fit in this program, in this event, as much as possible, that would be lovely. And then I became to know so many beautiful, nice people. They helped me out to choose actually which cause to choose, and I'm now working with some people that are working directly with Syrian children of war, that's what I call it, and some people that are doing an amazing job of getting clean water to African children, and also a group that I'm working with, they're based in Sweden, and they're working on animal rights and nature preservation.